Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science or Technology. In today's show, Rocket Monday, we're gonna talk about SpaceX Starship serial number 8 Hop. So let's dive right into it. Well, first we have to understand what exactly we are talking about. So we are talking about a new design test of Starship. Now you have to understand this Starship is not going through conventional design cycle. So the design is kind of rough state at this point in time. So they are actually building it and then figuring out how to refine the design. So there will be multiple iterations before the final design is, finalized on, so to say. Now this was a high altitude system. So basically they were targeting 12 kilometer, basically 50,000 feet kind of scenario. And this would be the first flight where multiple engines would be used simultaneously, because if you have paid attention to two last hop systems, both were utilizing one engine. Now this mission was delayed a lot, and in one time situation got so bad when they did static firing test, one engine blew up. Basically it got damaged, so to say, so they had to replace that point puppy also. So this was very long journey to actually get to this test. Now, first part of the test, takeoff. Now, this rocket was partially fueled simply because if they had fueled it to full extent, they would have need full all of the engine complements in order to work. Three engines would not be enough to push this puppy up. So they needed all three to pick this up, basically partial fueled system. And that's why you will notice during launch time all three engines are working, but afterwards it's not. And multi-engine testing was done. Awesome. There was an Easter egg, engine number 42. That's a very good Easter egg. Now this was a very amazing video because you can actually see the gimbaling. Now it's very difficult to see a rocket engine gimbal properly in proper flight test, but this time we got a very, what you call, front row seat, so to say. So you can see engine is fighting like hell to keep the rocket upright. So that was amazing to see, and it worked as expected. Basically they expected this to happen and that exactly happened within margin of error. So this is awesome. So that part of test, GG. Then we come to the glide aspect. Now this glide aspect was a very tricky part, because it's more like a space shuttle kind of scenario where it's gonna basically glide and utilize the atmosphere to guide itself. The reason for that is basically it's much more efficient than grid fins, and it allows much more capabilities. Basically if you are falling from space, aka from outer orbits, basically even low earth orbit, you will have much more range where basically where you can land, quote unquote, or where you can fire your engines. So that system needed to be tested. So that's why you will pay attention to, if you watch the live stream, there is a lot of cameras pointed towards the fin alignments. And the reason was that it's one thing to say, okay, this hydraulic motor or this electrical system will move the fins. It's another thing to actually test it out, how the heck it's gonna work at, like, high altitude and low altitudes. So they needed to test it out. So it was like a validation of flight characteristics, like how the heck it's gonna fall. Because if the design itself is not stable, it's not gonna work, because it does not run on a fuel system. It does not have any solid boosters to, like, upright it or stabilize it. It has to have a stable system, otherwise liquids inside them will not behave properly and engine ignition will fail. So fundamentally they needed to make sure that on a passive state, if nothing is working for it, it should stabilize. Now again, not perfectly stable, because again it needs the fin to stabilize, but it should be like, stable enough where fins are like, okay, I'm like, balancing it out, not just like fighting it to keep it stable. So flight characteristics was validated at this point in time, and this is classified as belly flop maneuver, and heat shield will be placed on the bottom edge. Now this puppy also worked as expected. Most people were not expecting this part to work, but it worked out, because you can understand that, like, whenever you see something like this, they have done precision engineering on this puppy, was just welded on. So it was quite amazing. The reason why the heck it works is simply because it's so huge. It's like almost like 12-story building. So on big things, surface detail does not matter that much. So it worked awesome. Then we come to the bad part, the crash landing. Now, because they were partially fueled rocket, once they actually lifted off, they did not need to use all three engines. So one engine was cut off almost permanently, and only two engines were needed to basically land. Now, during this time, because they were doing belly flop maneuver, and to make sure the center of gravity is properly balanced, they had like header tank on the nose cone. Now, I do not think that will be the final design, because apparently that was needed for mass simulation reasons. So belly flop maneuver will be proper, because if all the mass is on the back, the belly flop maneuver will be always like this, which is not a good thing. You want like this. So fundamentally they had to do this, and I'm pretty sure this cannot be the final design, simply because while that may work for a human rating system where you like capsules and doors and all that jazz, it will not work if you have to use that as a fairing. Like, how the heck you're gonna open the fairing? That will be very difficult. Not impossible, just difficult. So Had the tank was placed up there, now this aspect of design could change. That was the failure point. So basically either that ran out or fell, had some issue where it was unable to feed the engines, basically unable to feed methane to the engines. That was the first failure. So fuel flow failure happened. Then second, engine flamed out. Basically the two engines that were working, one engine was like choked, basically done, I can't do anything, I'm not getting any fuel. So that was a failure state. Now that caused another failure state where overflow of oxygen, because again the methane that's supposed to be there, it's not coming, but oxygen was still keep flowing. That overflow condition happened, and that caused engine melting. Now you're like, wait a minute, it's a rocket engine, it's supposed to handle these things, it has a cryogenic cooling, that's the whole point of it. Problem was it works on a chemical envelope. Basically if chemical reactions are within this point, it's like I got this. But if you overflow with oxygen, you have to understand this part. Oxygen is a reactive thing. This engine is made out of copper, which is a reactive thing. It's not like a platinum or something like that. It's copper. And that happened. Basically, rocket engine turned green. So what we call engine-rich exhaust. So that happened. That was the failure point. And engine, basically at this point in time, people are pretty sure that whole turbo pumps was burning around. That's why like the green was coming out so bright. It's like a lot of chunks were being burnt, and then boom, it failed to crash. Now because it had very tiny legs, so even if this basically burnout happened few feet ago, the landing legs did not have enough oomph to actually absorb the shock, so to say. So again, I'm not sure even if they had like giant legs that can manage a lot of shock, it would have survived, but it may have been a bit more gentle. But that was the failure point. So basically two engines were needed, one engine flamed out because the fuel tank failed to provide, and that created an unbalanced situation where too much oxygen was fed into the engines. So one engine that was working, it started to melt from the inside and started to go green, and that was a not good green joke. You don't want your rocket engine to go green. So this was the reason for crash landing. Now, what we can expect in the future? Well, you have to understand this. Elon Musk has a very good tendency of doing what he wants to do sooner or later. He does that. Like if he's like, I'm gonna create a satellite internet, he's the only one who actually done it. So that's the whole point. If he says something, he does it. Here's the deal. Is the timeline is the lol part. So basically, if you watch Elon Musk from long enough, you will know he was claiming like, in 2018 we're gonna land on Mars, or we can do missions to Mars. That was done in 2016, and you can understand that flat out we are still nowhere near to that. Although you can say Falcon Heavy can do that. So you get the point. His timeline is the weakest part, and the core reason why this development will take much longer, I think, is simply because header tanks need much more improvement. So fluid dynamics, because this is the first time a fueled kind of rocket is landing. Basically before that, space shuttle technically had fuel tanks, tiny fuel tanks, but it was mostly empty by the time it's actually entering here. Here it has fuel, and it has to utilize those fuel. It has to have full fuel tanks, otherwise it will simply not land properly. So it's a completely different ball game. So it has to become like an aeroplane, so it can, and it has to become somehow upright, but somehow it has to do that upright on a very small fuel tanks to do it properly, and that's the very tricky aspect. So that is the main issue. Fluid dynamics is not working in their favor at this point in time, so they have to engineer the hell out of it. So that's the one thing. Now another aspect, this is the third time I'm seeing them having engine rich exhaust. So I think there's a serious issue with basically Raptor, and I think a lot of development needs to happen still on Raptor. Earlier I was thinking, oh, Raptor is almost done, like that engine is good, but at this point in time I'm having doubts, serious doubt, because your engine should not be your failure point if your engine is complete. Now that's okay. What happened with this engine is okay if your engine was designed as like a use and throw, like go full power, go all in, and like if you have exceed the boundary condition, it goes boom, no problem. But this is a reusable engine on a potentially human rated system. You must have multiple failure points, which was there in basically Merlin system. Basically you had 9 engines, and one of them did fail in one mission. One engine did fail, but everything else managed to continue properly. This time that should have happened. Again, the crash was inevitable, but that should have happened. Like engine should not have started to self disintegrate, because that's the whole design of this rocket system. Is like if one engine fails out, the system will still be redundant, but apparently that is a flaw. They have to figure it out. Like I'm pretty sure that's the whole point of prototypes. They are finding out these flaws, and given the fact that one engine started to self-destruct in static firing, given the fact before that engine when was doing hop testing, it started to do engine rich exhaust, I'm pretty sure at this point in time Raptor engine is pushed a bit too hard. I don't think it can sustain this kind of balls to the walls performance, so to say, for very long at least. So lot of work has to be done. Now, at this point in time, I'm reasonably sure, this is my prediction at the end of 2020, the first space launch of this whole system as a complete system just for low Earth orbit or just as a satellite launching vehicle will happen like unmanned at 2026. They have a lot of work to do. They have to figure out the basically fluid dynamics. That's the biggest issue, especially for landing part. And given the fact there is no emergency escape system, it has to work in one go. Engines, they cannot have a scenario where engines goes boom during static fire and self-destruct on a failure condition which it was designed to handle. So a lot of work has to be done on this point in time, but they are progressing along quite well. And this was supposed to be destroyed anyway because SN8 was built on a metal alloy they are no longer using. So SN9 and SN10, I think by SN10 they will utilize the final metal alloy. So they have a long road ahead, but I'm pretty sure by that 2024 moon landing that's not happening anymore. So this was my presentation on SN8 basically test. I hope you liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.